I'm actually going to start with a video. I'm not going to say a whole lot. I'm just going to start with the video. Midwife, and my pronouns are she and her. If any of you have ever met a midwife, you'll know we're storytellers, and I plan to tell you some stories today. I'm going to be speaking about my trip from Canada to Moshi, Tanzania. We brought a group of Canadian healthcare providers, and we worked with a group of healthcare providers there and traditional birth attendants. We did several things on this trip. One of which is we brought an ultrasound machine and training for using it. We brought 200 Days for Girls kits, and we trained the trainers there, so our physicians there learned how to explain them and give them to the girls at a public school. Days for Girls kits are reusable menstruation pad kits that keep girls in school so they don't miss school when they have their period. But today I want to focus on traditional birth attendants. Traditional birth attendants, and the ones we work with in particular, are from the indigenous community of the Maasai. They are often known in their community as the wise women, the grandmothers, in Swahili, wakangas. They have no formal training. They apprentice with each other. Their mothers teach them, the grandmothers teach them. My personal training as a midwife started as an apprentice-trained midwife here in Michigan. I later went on and got a university degree. Both of those ways of learning taught me that equitable and safe maternity health care starts with a few things. One, it's her body, her birth, her baby, her choice. And that I am the invited guest to her birth. The Wakangas spoke of a similar philosophy and belief about birth. But when we talk about maternal health, we need to recognize that we're dealing with developing countries. 99% of the maternal deaths in the world happen in developed countries. 60% of those deaths happen in 10 countries, and Tanzania is one of those 10 countries. The man you'll see on the, I don't do my right and left well. There's only one man on the picture, that helps. That's Dr. Lecton Morris. Lecton is a Rotary trained physician. Rotary's just amazing. So Lecton is a Maasai man who grew up in a remote rural area of Tanzania. He started this project. So one of the people he loved dearly got pregnant and gave birth at home with a wakanga. That scared him deeply for her safety. When he asked her why, she said because those were the people she felt safest with. It was the place she felt safest to birth. Because she had heard the stories of when you go to the hospital, they'll yell at you, they'll hit you for being too loud in labor. If you're too slow in labor, they'll do an operation, and that women die in the hospital. As a Canadian midwife, I have seen many, many women choose to birth at home because of their fears of hospital as well. So this project centers around respectful maternity health care. That is not sometimes people think that that's a philosophy, a luxury. It's not. This is about access and safety. This woman is one of the Wakangas there, a grandmother. Her and I shared stories together as we did. We shared stories, all of us together. We began every workshop with a conversation about what is respectful maternity health care and what isn't. We shared our story of becoming grandmothers for the first time and the great honor our daughters gave us to invite us to be at the birth of our first grandchild. When my daughter had her baby in a rural Ontario hospital, there was a complication, and I was asking questions as a grandmother and as a midwife. The doctor's response was, "You're just a midwife, and if you don't like what I have to say, you can leave and go somewhere else." And he said the same thing to my daughter. You have to get, she was fully dilated, had an epidural in place, and the closest hospital was an hour away, and he was the only physician on call. So I groveled and I begged and I pleaded and appealed to his ego so I could get safe care for my daughter and my grandchild. And we did. They're both wonderful and healthy and fine. Her story, when her daughter went into labor, she knew something was wrong, so she got her daughter to go to the hospital. She tried to get the doctor to give care to her and her daughter, and she was told, "You're just a wakanga, you know nothing." And so she was ignored, her daughter was ignored. By the time the physician provided care, her daughter's baby had died. Her first grandchild had died. Her daughter went on to have 8 more babies at home with her. My daughter went on to have another baby at home with midwives. So respectful maternity care was a conversation we had and shared tears about the abusive treatment our daughters faced and about our powerlessness to cause change. When we talk about respectful maternity health care, the World Health Organization has recognized that as an area of concern globally. It's an issue in Canada, it's an issue in the United States, it's an issue in Tanzania. When we talk about the United States, if you're a Black woman giving birth, you face a 3 times higher chance of dying from the complications of childbirth. In Canada, if you're an Indigenous woman, you have a 2 times higher risk of dying from birth complications than a non-Indigenous woman. So I have another story. Remember I said I had stories. This is a more familiar story that unfortunately we've heard often. One of the Wakangas told us the story. She worked the most remote. She worked 3 hours away. She was called in the middle of the night to attend a birth in a hut just like that. So there's no lights. It's pitch dark. You can't see your hand in front of your face. And it was a longer labor than she had expected. And the woman started to bleed and bleed too much. So she had to arrange transport, which took a while. She transported her 3 hours to the local health center. When they arrived there was no obstetrician and there was no operating room. There was medication to deal with the hemorrhage. So they gave her the medication, but she didn't stop bleeding, so they had to transport her to the regional hospital where there was an operating room and an obstetrician. That took another 2 hours to get there. By the time the woman arrived there, she had died, leaving behind her newborn child and 3 young children. So we brought and are bringing what is called non-pneumatic anti-shock garments. Thank you. They are a Velcro suit that shunts the blood to the heart, brain, and lungs. They stabilize women for those long transportation. It is a recommended part of the treatment for postpartum hemorrhages by the World Health Organization. It's proven to be effective in saving lives. We also brought a program called Helping Mothers and Babies Survive. This is another program that meets all the World Health Organization standards and is clinically proven to be effective. It is a train the trainer program. It is based on muscle memory. So as a midwife, this is how we teach emergency skills. Someone's bleeding in front of you, your brain goes, "Oh my God," and you're overwhelmed and you're terrified. But your body has muscle memory, and you know what to do, so you start to do it, even though your mind's still going, "Holy crap, holy crap." adore how serious everyone took the training. They were so committed and so serious to the learning and so grateful, as you could see in that video. The program involved teaching people who don't read. So it was really based on a picture-based program. So everything was image-based, and everything was based on repetition. And we trained our physicians there, and then our physicians, along with the Canadians, led the training, but then the Tanzanian physicians took over. So it's a train the trainer. The sustainability of it is partly that. So they are committed to and have redone the training when we're not there, and that they provide supports for the traditional birth attendants by phone and by visiting the villages. At one point you saw Bernard, he's one of the doctors. All of those maternal bellies, our male and female physicians wore them and they gave birth. It was beautiful. They're like standing there going, oh, oh. It was lovely. I think I actually already told this part. Hold on. No, I didn't. Okay. I wanted to tell the story about two of the Wakangas that we trained. They called us while we were still there training our next group. They called us and told us that they had attended births for the first time with light because we gave them solar headlamps. So they had lights, and they had our new skills, and they had birth kits. So it was like an immediate use of them. So we're going again. It's a 5-year project. It is our plan to bring back some different things this year. We dealt with the major cause of maternal death, postpartum hemorrhage, and the first 60 minutes of life for newborns. This year, we're going to be teaching those topics to a new set of Wakangas, but we are also going to be addressing the second leading cause of maternal death, eclampsia or hypertension. You'll see in the corner there a blood pressure cuff. It is very cool. It turns red, yellow, green, so you don't have to read numbers. You just have to tell colors, and then you access help depending on the color you see. We were asked by the Deputy Minister of Health for all of Tanzania to bring more anti-shock garments to the region of the Siha district. We're piloting them. We are going to train people from the 30 healthcare centers there. We're bringing providers from each of those places and training them on it. And once we have hospital policies in place, we're also modifying the NASGs. They don't have written on them how to take them off properly, so we're going to write on them. So then we're going to bring it to the rest of the country. We've been asked to roll it out to the entire country of Tanzania, which I'm just a midwife, so we're gonna figure it out. And we were asked to bring rubber boots, which I had no idea why, because of the rainy season, so they can get there safely. But mostly we brought knowledge and tools and lots of skills. I think if I want you to walk away with one thing from my talk, it's this. Please remember that it is her baby, her birth, her choice, and respectful maternity health care is a human right. Thank you.